Hey guys, welcome back to another talk with two scoops. This isn't coffee in this cup, it's Red Bull. I got cookies in the oven, hope I don't burn them. Speaking of burning, my back has been giving me problems, so I put some icy hot on it. I'm feeling more hot than ice. So, anyway, on today's episode, we're going to be talking about the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I know I've been late, negligent, some might say, with making these videos, but life has been busy to say the least, and I decided that instead of doing a episode by episode review, I'd wait until the conclusion of the series, the mini series, and give you my overall thoughts and opinions and feelings towards the show. Now, this is going to be a spoiler review, but I won't go into too many details because it's a little bit more difficult to go deep into every detail when you're trying to review the whole series as opposed to episode by episode. But I'll do my best to recount all of the important things that I thought transpired throughout the series. And if I miss anything, hey, look, I'm just a guy drinking Red Bull out of an office-themed mug. Sue me. The Falcon and the Winter Soldier gets an A from me. But from the beginning, I wasn't sold. I have to admit, for example, when WandaVision first started off, from the very first episode, I was intrigued. From the very first episode when it went off, I wanted more. It took till episode 4 of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier for me to start to feel that way. And I think that that's mostly due to the fact that WandaVision spoiled me in a sense that it gave me that fantastical Avenger-esque vibe that I was looking for versus the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which really took you down to a ground level of what the reality is of being a superhero dealing with not Avenger level type problems. The relationship between Bucky and Sam I really enjoyed. I am not like most people who saw them, and I wasn't the person that was watching that relationship grow very, closely. So when they said that they were doing this show, I was like, it looks cool, and for that reason I'll watch it, but I wasn't totally invested in these two characters coming together to see what they had to offer. So I was surprised, I'll say, with the chemistry that they developed over the course of the 6 episodes, because I don't think that it was fully there from the first episode. I think they tried to give us, that brotherly, I don't really like you, but I do on the side type of vibe. And it felt forced in the beginning to me, but over the course of the next 5 episodes, I saw that relationship come to play, I guess, for lack of better words. Once I accepted the fact that it wasn't going to be as fantastical as WandaVision, once I realized what it was going to be, I was able to get on board and I was able to get engaged with it the way that I wanted to be from the start. In the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, we are dealing with individuals who have joined together for this common cause of fighting back against the government, who post-blip have decided that everybody who they have welcomed with open arms into the country, because half of the population disappeared, now that that population has come back, they want to send all of these individuals back to where they came from. And as you know, there are some places in this world that are not the best places to live, to have a family. There's wars going on, there's poverty, there's places where they don't have water and the proper food like this. It's a huge problem to just tell these people after 5-6 years. I don't know when this is exactly taking place in relationship to Endgame, but 5-6 years to just tell those people that you have to go back. That's absurd. And so from the beginning, you can sympathize with this group of individuals, although their methods of getting that message across is a little bit extreme. You understand where they're coming from. And for that reason, I was able to relate to these people. I wouldn't kill nobody, but understand where they were coming from. And so that's the main villain that we're dealing with, is really this organization. But there's a main person, a head honcho named Carly, who is the person who's calling the shots. And so throughout the series, we're just dealing with them and, trying to stop them from all of the crazy stuff that they got going on. But on the other hand, now that Steve Rogers is gone, the U.S. government has taken upon themselves to find a new Captain America. And who do they find? John Walker. Now, from the very introduction of John Walker, people were caught off guard. Unless you've read the comics, in a world where comic books weren't as popular, and so just like me, their main connection and their main exposure to these characters were through the movies. And so you really only know as much as the movie has shown you. And if you're like me, you might go and research some things after you've seen them, like I did with John Walker, and find out some backstory. But until that character is introduced, your exposure to him or her is limited. And so a lot of people were caught off guard, and there are memes and all types of stuff. Matter of fact, I saw John Walker before I had even seen the episode. So I really thought it was like connected to some type of parody video or something. I had no idea that it had to do with the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, because like I said, I wasn't extremely excited to see this show, so I don't even think I watched it the first day that it came on. And if I did, I didn't make it to that part on the first viewing. So when I finally did meet John Walker, I was just like everybody else. I was like, who is this dude? And who is the government to decide that we need a new Captain America? This dude don't even have super serum. Not that the super serum is what made Captain America super, but it did make him super. And without the super serum, he wouldn't have the super strength, and he wouldn't be able to do a lot of the things that he did. He was still a good man on the inside, but the super serum is what made him Captain America. So how can there be a Captain America without the super serum? Well, we'll find out by the end of this series that you don't need the super serum to be Captain America. Captain America is who you are in here. Sam taught me that. Anyway, John Walker becomes the new Captain America, and clearly he's in over his head. He has no idea what he's gotten himself into. He has no idea the level of pushback that he's going to have, not necessarily from the public, but from the two Avengers that we do spend time with, Sam and Bucky. They aren't interested in doing anything with John. And actually, to be honest, Bucky is upset with Sam because he wanted Sam to be the next Captain America. Steve left the shield to Sam. So Bucky is upset that he then turned that shield over to the U.S. government. Anyway, this is the deal. We got John Walker here, the new Captain America. Now, John does not come into the job on his own. He comes in with his longtime partner, military brother, Lamar. And they are like I won't say the opposite, but the reverse, I guess, I don't know, version of Bucky and Sam. And he's backing up John as much as he can. He believes in him. He believes in the cause. Because up until this point, John has felt like he doesn't need the super serum. He's felt like he can do this Captain America thing his own way. He knows that he's just a regular guy and he has big shoes to fill, but he's going about it in a very noble and true to himself type of way. But after an encounter with some Wakanda women, he realizes that even fighting people who aren't genetically enhanced, who don't have super serum, he's still out of his league. And this starts to plant in his mind the idea that he might want that serum.
Okay, guys, so I realized I missed a pretty important part. So during a encounter with Carly earlier on in the series, John finds himself in the possession of some of the super soldier serum. And although he doesn't take it right away, you can see that he contemplates on taking it. And although he doesn't decide to take it at that moment, he stashes it away. And after, or shortly after his encounter with the Wakanda women, he decides that he is going to take it. And by the next fight with Carly and the Red Hand group, he has taken it. He's stronger. He's knocking people through walls, all of that. But at this point, he's also starting to lose it a little bit. You can see that the serum is having an adverse effect on him, and he is not himself at this point.
And basically, I'm not going to go too deep, like I said, into detail, but Lamar dies. And when Lamar dies, this takes John over the edge. The power is too much for him. It clouds his judgment. He becomes rash, and because he's fueled by anger, that super serum doesn't do anything but enhance the problems that he already has. And he was trying his best to continue on that straight and narrow path. But when Lamar died, he lost it. And he went after Carly. Well, actually, Carly is the one who killed Lamar, but for whatever reason, I'm not sure if I missed something. He went after a random goon and he killed that dude. Like, he used Cap's shield and beat him to death with the shield. And it was captured on cell phones and it was all over the news, and rightfully so. He was stripped of his title of Captain America. He runs off after the incident. Sam and Bucky follow him, and this leads to one of the best fights, if not the best fight of the whole series. It's almost a recap or a reimagination of the fight between Bucky, Tony, and Steve in Civil War. It's very much of the same nature. It has a lot of the same elements. And Sam and Bucky tag team this dude, man. Like, they beat him down to the ground. And it's very entertaining. I liked it. I felt bad for John, though, because I do believe he was just a good guy who was trying to do the right thing, and he just was in over his head. But anyway, they beat the crap out of him, and they take the shield, and now Sam has it. And earlier on in the series, we find out that Bucky has connections to another soldier who was experimented on around the time of the first Captain America movie, Isaiah Bradley, who was the black Captain America before or around the same time as Steve. I'm not entirely sure, but I know somebody in the comments will tell me. So thanks for that. But anyway, he takes Sam to meet Isaiah Bradley, and they have a discussion. Isaiah tells Sam everything that happened to him, the way they experimented on him, and how he really did a lot for the country. And basically, the government didn't want him to get any of the credit for it. So they basically washed his history away. He didn't exist. And he had to basically pretend to be dead just so that they would not try to come for him. And I did feel a type of way because it was hard, even for a fictional universe, a fictional character, a fictional situation. All of it is just fake, but still it's so true to the way history is written. And so it was hard for me to watch it because I kind of wanted to just skip past it. I'm like, man, like, I don't really want to deal with this. But anyway, his story was powerful, and he brings up some valid questions for Sam regarding whether or not Sam wants to be the next Captain America. And it gives us a glimpse into why he turned over the shield in the first place, because a lot of the things that Isaiah told Sam just verified things that he had already been feeling about being a black guy with the Captain America shield. He already knew the weight and the pressure that came with something like that. And so Isaiah just basically told the audience through the audience through his story what Sam was feeling. And although it was a little hard to watch, it was important for us to understand Sam a little bit better and for us to continue on this journey with him as he ultimately, as you know, because the series has come to a conclusion, becomes the next Captain America. After they beat the crap out of John, Sam takes the shield back, and we get a cool montage of him training and, you know, throwing the shield and just trying to get accustomed to it, trying to, you know, learn the best techniques, what's going to work for him, and getting familiar with the shield. So we see him embracing the shield, and we see him preparing himself to ultimately become Captain America. And I like that montage. I wish it would have been a little bit longer, actually, or showing us a little bit more than him just in the park throwing the shield. But either way, it was intense, it was cool, it was passionate. It's the type of stuff that I love to see. I love montages. They can convey so much story in so little time when done right. Sometimes people use them just to get past stuff that they don't want to deal with or spend time on. That one was done well. I also would not be able to not mention the fact that we start to show off with Bucky trying to right some of the wrongs that he did as the Winter Soldier. He's sitting in a bar or a diner talking to a old guy whose son he killed as the Winter Soldier, and we see him trying to figure out how to break this news to him, and he doesn't do it, in that first episode. We won't get that moment until a little bit later into the series. I want to say the second to last episode, maybe even the last episode. No, actually, I think it was the last episode. And when we do get to it, I have to admit, I was a little let down because it was built up so much that he has to talk to this guy. He has to tell him what happened. And as you're getting to it, you think it's going to be a super emotional, super, in-depth scene. But they don't really spend a lot of time on it. Almost instantly after he tells him, we cut away. And not to underplay the scene, it was still powerful within the amount of time that they gave it, but it felt like it was cut short. It felt like the writers had more important stuff that they were trying to get to, and I felt like the purpose of the show was to go deeper into some stuff that you couldn't do in a movie, so why even present us with that situation if you're not going to take the time to see it through in a fulfilling way? It felt like we were robbed of whatever emotion was being built up so that they could have more time on Sam and his endeavors as the new Captain America, which is fine, but just, save it for another movie or another show or something if you're not going to pay off what you've started. Oh, Zemo. Okay, so Zemo is brought back into the picture because Bucky and Sam need somebody who can connect them to this underground army that's bubbling up to fight back against the government. They have no connections to this world, and they know that Zemo, because of his hatred of super soldiers and his experiment on super soldiers, they have a feeling that he'll be able to connect them to the people that they need to connect to. So they break him out of jail. And I know a lot of people were upset that Zemo kind of came and went, but not me. He was never that compelling of a villain to me. And although he was the instrument that told Bucky what to do, basically, he read him off the codes that would activate the Winter Soldier, whatever. He wasn't that instrumental in what happened in that movie. If you really think about it, what happened could have happened without him. So for that reason, I don't think he was that compelling of an antagonist. But anyway, he came and he served his purpose. And I was kind of hot and cold with him. I thought he was funny. His scenes, his interactions with Bucky and Sam were funny. His little dance move was funny. But I just wasn't on the Zemo bandwagon. So I don't really know what else I could say about that character. He came and he served his purpose, and then they took him away to a Wakandan jail somewhere in Wakanda. And that was the end of the Zemo story. And if you're hearing a clicking, the radiators in here are starting to cut on, and they're going to be making a lot of noise. So I apologize sincerely. Anyway. Oh yeah. There was this fight scene pretty early on. The same fight scene where John Walker gets beat up by the Wakandan women. That they do like this. I don't know what type of jujitsu black magic it is, but like clearly because the arm was made in Wakanda, is made of vibranium. They have like a cheat code, I guess, if you will, to deactivate the arm. But while Bucky is fighting, not only do they like hit these pressure points on his arm to make it stop working, like it just falls off of his body. I thought that was extreme. Y'all couldn't just make it go limp. Like the thing fell off of his body. And I'm just like, what? Like they really programmed a kill switch or like a safeguard button on his arm in case maybe he went rogue again, so that they could just take the arm back. That was pretty funny. So by the time we get to the end of the series, we're on the last episode, the last two episodes, and Sam has fully embraced the Captain America shield and has fully embraced being the new Captain America. It was cool. Honestly, I enjoyed this finale more than I enjoyed the finale for WandaVision, which I still owe y'all a review for that final episode as well. But the action, the CGI, I have to say the CGI was on par with some of the movies. Some of the CGI in WandaVision was a little iffy, but because it's a show, you accept it. But here, it was like, whoa, it looked like they actually gave this like a nice budget. Some of these set pieces and the CGI is just on point for me. But anyway, that whole episode from the very start of the final episode, it was just jam packed with action. I promise you, literally the first 14 minutes of the episode, I felt like I just couldn't take any more. Like it was just intense. I remember checking my phone to see how much time I had left. I'm like, crap, I've only watched 15 minutes because everything that was happening felt like it was like it felt like the finale. So I'm like, man, where else can they go with this? They really delivered on this last episode. I have to admit, they really gave you something. It was a nice way to finish off. And Sam in his new captain suit, I liked it. I'm not crazy about it, but I have to see it in action a little bit more. I'm the type of person where, and it took me a while to realize this, but I'm the type of person where when I first see something, it's very rare that I love it. Even if I go on to love it, I have to see it a few times. I have to have time to digest it. And I haven't revisited this finale yet. I've only just watched it maybe 2 days ago, whatever day, on Friday. No. Yeah, Friday when it came out. Today's Sunday. So I have to watch it again and see it in action again, but I wasn't blown away from it from the start. But it is comic book accurate from what I've seen in the research that I've done. And it does look cool, but I just wasn't super crazy about it. Sometimes I feel like things can be a little too comic book accurate, and whatever they end up, because they will inevitably make tweaks to the suit, I'm sure it will grow on me. But for now, I'm not crazy about it. And we even got a moment for John Walker. We thought that dude was long gone, but then, he shows back up with his new Captain America shield that he's built, had somebody build it for him, but it doesn't mean anything. Like those super soldiers break it up anyway. Like I don't know what he made it of, titanium, whatever it is, it wasn't strong enough for those guys. But anyway, he gets a redemption arc, which I figured he would, because he was a good guy at his core. We all knew that. So when he came back, you assumed at some point he would snap out of it and the good part of him would come back through. And it does. He tries to save a bus or an armored truck of government officials that is getting ready to fall off of a cliff. He tries his best to save it. And so he gets his redemption arc. And then we find out that he is now the U.S. agent, which I'm not completely familiar with, but I know that's a comic book character. And I can't tell you if he is going to be evil going forward or if he's going to be more like a vigilante type of character where he kind of goes by his own moral code, on par with the Punisher or something. Clearly, they're going to go somewhere with that character in the movies. But that's how his story wraps up. I told you how Bucky's story wraps up with him talking to the old guy. That felt a little unfulfilled. Now, Sam's story wraps up with him giving this speech to the government officials, but also the news who's out there after this huge fight. And he's talking about how basically you can't just call this group of individual terrorists when they're just doing what they feel like they have to do for their message to be received. Now, clearly they went to extreme measures, but his rebuttal for that is, why do you think they went to such extreme levels? It must mean that what you're doing is wrong. And you have to think about that, and you have to look in a mirror. You have to ask yourself, am I making this decision because I think it's right and because I'm listening to the people who it's going to be affecting? Or am I making this decision because it's easier and because I'm surrounded by other people who feel that it's the easier decision? You have to take responsibility, because even though you're not snapping and making half of the universe disappear, your decision is still affecting the whole world. Your decision is still going to affect all of these people, all of the same people who were affected in the first place, the people who disappeared, the people who stayed. What your decision is going to affect everybody. So it is on that same level. And so you do owe it to yourself and to the rest of the world to sit down and really think about a logical solution to this problem and not just brush these people to the side. And also speaks on the fact that, yeah, I'm the new Captain America and I'm black. And this wasn't an easy decision, but I'm trying to deal with that. I'm trying to make the best of it. I'm trying to affect the type of change that I can. And I thought that was a powerful message. And I thought once she did become Captain America, it was natural that he would have to have some type of talk. He would have to address it. I enjoyed that speech. I thought it was well done. I thought it was well scripted. I thought that Anthony McMackie, I thought he did a really good job with that scene. It was powerful and he sold it for me. And then, to finish it off, we get to see Sam go back to see Isaiah, and we see that Isaiah's perspective has been changed a little bit. He still has his doubts and, his reservations, but the fact that Sam has taken the step gives him some type of hope that things can be different than they were. And then Sam takes Isaiah to the museum, the same one that has all of the murals and all of the backstory to Captain America, Steve Rogers. And he takes him to another area where now there is a statue of Isaiah, and we get to see his backstory. Well, not us, but the people who visit that museum will now know the story of Isaiah and everything that he's done for the country. And now his presence in history will never be forgotten again. And that was beautiful. That was a really, really beautiful moment. And the emotion between Sam and Isaiah just was electric. Like, you really felt it. Like, it was powerful, and I really enjoyed it. And that's pretty much where we're left off. I mean, I think the true last scene is of John becoming the U.S. agent, but I already talked about that. But overall, I really enjoyed this series. Like I said, I wasn't captivated from the very first episode, but by episode 4, I was really into it. I really loved the chemistry between Sam and Bucky. The character of Isaiah was very powerful and important to include. And in general, it was a good show. I was slow to get into it, but I really enjoyed it. And I would like to see more of it. At the very least, I would like to see these storylines finished in either other shows or movies. But overall, really enjoyed this show. I recommend watching it if you haven't already. If you haven't watched it, I hope that you aren't watching this video because I gave away some serious plot points. But anyway, thanks for watching this video. Thanks for supporting. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being patient. I'm trying to get myself on a better schedule so that I can get you these videos more quickly. And, just bear with me because this channel is about to blow up. But y'all already knew that. So if you like it, hit that like button, subscribe, share. If you want the notifications every time I drop a video, hit that bell and you'll be notified. And, we can do this thing a little more often. So see you next time.